first, most importantly, was the respect I have for Coach Day when he reached out. We had a good conversation and came down here and spent some time with him. We just kind of weighed my options, and I'd had such a good experience with some of the players that have come through here that I've gotten the privilege to coach. So I was intrigued, kind of weighed my options and talked to a lot of people, including Mike Rabel, who's a great Buckeye, who's a great friend of mine. It just made sense.
We had a really good offense last
something you've been thinking about for a while?
Not really. Just kind of trying to weigh my options. The way the season ended abruptly, and obviously Coach Tomlin stepped away, and we had just been in the playoffs. So it kind of hits you fast in these cycles. But Coach Day was awesome. In a couple of days, kind of weighed it, everything, talked to people, and really just excited to get an opportunity.
Something different.
Yeah, I think every year, even if you've had a great year statistically in certain categories, I mean, you've got to look for constant improvement. There's an evolution too. You don't want to get stale. So obviously coming in new, they've had a lot of success here. You've got a lot of returning players. So you're kind of evaluating everything and things that you want to implement, things that you want to obviously keep that they've done really well and try to enhance. So, and that's what's great time about the college calendar is we've got a lot of time to work with the players, and you get these opportunities in spring ball and a lot of time to prepare. And there's a constant evaluation that you're doing, because every team's different. When you add to the roster, obviously there's a lot of new players here. And then, talking about the incoming freshmen and guys that can help us.
What was your biggest challenge getting up to speed, so to speak? You know what I mean, Arthur? I mean, as far as
sure. Yeah, I mean, that's a little bit of the thing you pride yourself in. You're always talking to players about, growing, having that growth mindset, getting out of your comfort zone. And for me, it was a good challenge of where I'm at in my career. And just the nuances, the rules are a little bit different. The spacing, too, the hashes are wider. So just a lot of film evaluation. It helps with guys that have been here on the staff, and you're picking their brain and watching a lot of tape. And you figure it out. And so kind of adapt to certain things.
How about
coming through here on Pro Day? Obviously knew a lot of people that had played for him and worked with him, and had a lot of mutual admiration from afar.
How much did you talk with Will Howard?
Kind of getting the whole picture. I mean, I know from afar because I love the history of this game and understand how important this place is, and especially in the history of football.
What did they tell you? Adjustment will be to the college game, just in terms of dealing with a different age of player. That's a different game.
Yeah, well, I mean, you obviously adapt. You've got players that are a little bit younger. They don't have some of the experience. Obviously, when you're getting guys that are rookies, I mean, they're coming. Take example, draft a guy like Bijan Robinson. He's a rookie in the NFL, and he's got a great experience coming out of college. These guys are at different points in their career. And I always look at myself as a coach. I mean, you're a teacher too, and a teacher really first. So it's fun to go back and evaluate and try to get creative in the way you're teaching with these younger players.
What did those guys tell you? Those guys you talked to, did he talk to you about the expectations here? I mean, what was sort of the general gist?
Yeah, everything. I mean, just the school, what the program means to so many people. I mean, it's one thing to study from afar, and I haven't been here very long, but just kind of doing my research. And I always look at, you don't go to Ohio State if you don't welcome those expectations. And it's the same thing in the NFL. The expectation to win every Sunday, and you love that challenge as a competitor, and it's kind of what gets you going as a coach.
What can you guys do, you and Coach Bowen, to get that figured out, and get that back where it needs to be?
Well, there's a lot of things. I mean, you're looking at it, and it's a new year, right? We've got great depth in the O-line room. A lot of things you look at, you kind of after action. Even when you win big games, you need to go back and look at it with a critical eye, because there's sometimes you look at things that kind of got away with something, or a player makes a play kind of off schedule. So you look at everything. You just want to be fundamentally sound. That's across the board. So we're always looking to improve. We got a lot of work ahead of us before we start this season. There's a constant evaluation. I mean, whether you win or lose, you really need to objectively look at yourself, and that's kind of the nature of the job if you want to do it right.
It's a lot of things, but when you turn on that tape the first time, what are you looking for?
Just looking for the personality of the players that are coming back. You're getting a feel for it. What they've been running. Where you think the skill sets are. I mean, some of it's obvious. I mean, you know the talent level from afar, but you're looking at it comparatively to your top competition. So really, it was looking at the guys that we have coming back, kind of learning the schemes, what they've been taught, what they ran a lot of, like what would they kind of go to. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you try to be objective and not rush to judgment. I mean, that's easy to sit back. I wasn't here. You know, you can get cynical or get too critical, and that's kind of the easy thing to do. But just purpose was to get a feel for what they know. Really, the talent we have coming back, their personalities, their characteristics. Later, I mean, I watch it by myself, and then guys that have been here, that were on the staff, they could kind of fill in the blanks. You know, what they called things, why they called it. So yeah, I mean, it's not just a snap judgment the first time. You want to. I'll look at it on my own, and then watching it with guys that have been here. I mean, I didn't know any different. And, I mean, I've always loved this game. I mean, the game's given me so much, and then started playing. It's taken me a lot of cool spots. I met a lot of great people, friends, you know, lifetime friends from playing and then coaching. And there's very few jobs. I mean, not too many jobs where you feel the highs and the lows like this, and it gives you know, you wish you could still play. I mean, you know, some guys like Aaron, they play to their 40s. Those guys are outliers, but there's nothing like it. I like to teach. I love the game. I love the strategy, and yeah. So maybe you know it's not for the well-adjusted. So maybe I'm not well-adjusted.
How do you determine that distribution? Is it a week-to-week thing, like matchup based, or is it more on the personnel you have?
Your roster can change, obviously, as you guys know. We've got a great depth at wideout too. So in different years, it depends on you know, where the strength of your team is. I mean, my first year in Atlanta, you know, we had some games where we were down some wideouts, and their job as a problem solver. They don't care on the other side. And I mean, we had a 2-minute drive against Miami in 21. I think we called fast 23 personnel, where we had Lee Smith, which you guys probably don't know. I think he told me it was his first time he was ever in 2 minute. He kind of just, and that, you know, things, the lessons I learned from my old man. He was an old Marine in Vietnam, and you do the most with what you got. And so I've done it that way. And we had Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson basically split out as you see in the X, and we went down and won the game that way. And then obviously, if you've got a great receiver room, you may be in a little more 11. And so that's assessing and understanding your roster, and you know where your best players are. And then you know sometimes schematically comes down to matchups. If you think you can get somebody that plays base, that gives you an advantage, and that's what you're looking at all the time.
Arthur, is there ever such a thing?
No, I mean I got asked that if I gave the ball too many times to Derrick Henry, and I'd argue that I didn't. I mean Derrick, I think, carried the ball more than anybody in the postseason run at 19.
What stood out about being around Jeremiah?
Yeah, I mean obviously I've seen him on film and heard a lot about him, but getting to know him, I'm just really impressed with his mindset. I mean, he doesn't feel like you're dealing with a college player. He feels like a veteran to me. He's a very, you know, what I appreciate about him. He's got great humility for somebody that's that talented and has had the success he's had. And you understand that he's a unique weapon, but he's a great person. Enjoyed my conversation with him and just trying to help him expand his game, because I think the potential is limitless. Well, what you're going to ask him to do, how you may want to package things. You know, what if you got a player that can handle that, assuming that the other 10, I mean, you're evaluating that and what you're putting on his plate. It's one thing if he can do it all, but if the other guys can't handle it, well, then you're kind of wasting your time. But it really allows you to package things, and there's a lot of things that's pretty common. I mean, I imagine there's several colleges that may get to it differently with signals, and I know it's changed now because they've got the quarterback communicator from those big signs and the people on the highlighter things have kind of gone away, but things you're trying to assess, and that's the game, the chess game you're playing on Sundays. You get coordinators, and obviously Coach Patricia's here. I mean, those are the daily chess masters, which obviously helps him, in his goals and aspirations at the next level.
Yeah, he said that the quarterbacks, like you just mentioned, you've had rookies, you've had Aaron Rodgers was your age. Do you want them to have more responsibility at the line of scrimmage, or you maybe more?
No, I would like them to, yeah, absolutely, because it allows you a lot more flexibility. You're trying to take advantage of what the defense is giving you.
So did having a veteran quarterback maybe entice you versus like they were breaking in a brand new starting quarterback here?
No, because I enjoy it. Just seeing guys at different points in their career. I mean, just from Julian to Tavian to Luke or Justin, just getting to know these guys. But certainly that does entice you a little bit when you've got a quarterback coming out that's been a Heisman finalist, really smart. It's fun to work with.
Arthur, help everybody be on the field with these guys.
Well, you have to adapt your teaching. You know, maybe it's a depth sometimes. I mean, because the game in the NFL, the hashes are, narrower. So a little more, you're playing kind of in the middle of the field. So sometimes the things, depending on what you want to run conceptually in the boundary, can get condensed in there. So there's some things you may want to tweak, and you may want to wait till the ball's moved off the hash, or you just adjust the depths of it. So make sure you don't run out of room.
Have you had discussions with Ryan about tempo? Things, fewer
We talked
plays,
about a lot
less.
of things.
Right. I mean, in terms of, is that something maybe you're going to adjust? And how?
I've had a lot of different tempo packages, and depending on the personality or the strengths of your team, certainly it's given us a weapon. I mean, it shows up a lot in the NFL. The 2 minutes different. Your tempo package is there. We've done plenty of on the ball. We've had different variations of it, where it's not just everything's on the quick. You have the different packages you may take in. I think for sure tempo is great when you get to that point where you can package it and you've got different variations of it too. It's not the same one. I mean, you've got ones where you're just going, lining up as fast as you can and going. There's things that you may want to package if your guys can handle it, that you're kind of doing on the ball. There's different variations. A lot of those discussions will naturally evolve. And normally when I've gone into a game, we've had it up, and I've used it as much, but usually it's up week to week.
Bo and Isaiah step up in that way.
Well, it's great competition. I mean, obviously, Jacoby's a guy that got here out of the transfer portal, has played a lot of quality football. Turbo, I know he missed some snaps last year. It's fun watching him. He had a great offseason. You can see that instantly when I got here. And then obviously a guy like Legend, a guy that was a quarterback in high school. Kind of, there's so many things he can do, and you talk about not trying to overwhelm him because as you're evaluating that. But I've had guys that are not traditionals. You have your Derrick Henry, traditional backs. Really not many guys like Derrick, but in that kind of runner. And then you've had guys like I've had with Cordell Patterson or Kenneth Gainwell that can kind of move around and play hybrid. So it's been fun. It's getting to know those guys and work with them.
From a week to week, or just as you get into this, are there just taking?
Talking about with you guys?
No.
Yeah.
Just give you the game plan? Is that what you're asking?
No, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, a lot of people, when I was growing up, you were an I-formation guy. You know what I mean, kind of things. I mean, are you a completely open book when it comes to like your approach to offense about what you have on hand and what you take advantage of?
Yeah, I think you're constantly looking at yourself to try to evolve. Things that we did well in Tennessee may not fit this group or other places I've been. I think, again, you want to have packages going in where you don't become obvious. So, every time you're in this formation or you're in this split, this is what they're running. You got to have counter punches. And that's the week to week when you're game planning. It may change week to week what you like. You might like this personnel or formation, this package, and you need to have counter punches off that, and that's what you're looking for.
Arthur, Coach Day is coordinator, but a head coach kind of help you with what Coach Day is looking for.
You understand where it's coming from. I think that helps. That was another big reason I'm here, talking to him after Coach Day reached out. That experience. I think what happens sometimes is, like in any industry, at least you understand what all goes, happens in that office. It comes across his desk, and you're a little more empathetic, and you try to do your job really well so you can take that stress off him so you didn't have to worry about the unit responsibility he gives you. And it's a big part of our job, and that's probably why you use that term. You understand there's a lot that goes on in that job besides just coaching on the field. And so do your job really well, it just takes something off his plate. It means a lot to a lot of people. One of the first texts I got was from Taylor Awan, told me that I was a traitor, even though I had no ties to that. I was a North Carolina guy. So I understand that rivalry, it's obviously it's a huge game, and looking forward to being part of it.
Coach, thank you.